All right, in this training, I'm going to give you the exact strategies to keep your schedule filled during the holiday season. So many practices are experiencing the holiday drop. And so by the end of this video, I'm going to give you the exact tools and scripts that I'm using when patients say, hey, can we wait till after the holidays to schedule? And actually making them where they want to come in before the holidays. And so what you're going to have by the end of this training and this end of this video is you're going to know the exact tools, things to say, how to keep your schedule full and not experience this holiday drought that so many other practice owners are experiencing. And this is exactly the strategies I'm using in my own cash practice so that we can play a little more offense and what we're teaching to all of our paid private coaching clients as well. And they're going to be on pace to have a great November, December, January, as opposed to the opposite of many other practices. So, typically, what I see during this time is everybody wants to kind of play the passive role a little bit. They chalk it up to, well, it's the holidays, people just aren't going to schedule and people are busy. And this is especially the case with this particular Christmas and New Year's. It falls right in the middle of the week, and it makes this really weird divide. And oftentimes, people, it's just kind of the psychology that people have embraced during this time. Not only the practice, the practice owner or the front desk, but also patients, right? They just kind of say, well, I'll get to it in the new year, right? Versus if we can frame up the importance and why we actually want to see this person now as opposed to the new year, then oftentimes they'll think twice about wanting to delay that scheduling. And there's a lot of consequences that happen with this. And this is kind of the first big point I want to make are, hey, what are, like, why do we actually want this to like, why do we actually want to get these people scheduled before the new year? Because it affects not only the practice and obviously the revenue that it's bringing in, but it also affects the patients in a lot of regards. And this is especially true for PT, chiro, or someone else who may be dealing in more symptom based management. Or pain even. And what happens is now the visits start to get drawn out. And so they're texting in, they're calling in, they're emailing in, they want to push their appointments out. And what happens with that is, opposed to them being maybe seen weekly or every other week, now they may only get one visit in during that month. And so now they're not having expert eyes on them. They're not maybe getting hands-on treatment if your clinic does that. And so now their pain can actually increase a little bit, especially because their other life habits are going to change. And then ultimately, what's going to happen is now they may not see you to the new year, and they may not even see the benefit in actually coming to see you now at that point. They're just like, well, like I kind of just waited it out. Now it's the new year. Maybe my insurance is reset and I can't get out of network benefits. Like I'll just stop coming altogether. And so now what went from just kind of a holiday thing now became, well, I'll just figure this out without you guys. And now this person doesn't get the outcome that they were after altogether. And so that's a big problem, right? Because now not only are they not getting help that they need, but also they're falling off the schedule altogether. Maybe they don't even get back to their activity that they love. And so now the other thing that can happen with this is their plan of care starts to get drug out a little bit. So instead of them wrapping up maybe mid-January, if they just started a plan of care with you, they may not wrap up until February or March. And so now they're going to have a harder time getting back to their activity as quickly as possible. And that's a big problem, right? And now that has a pretty significant effect on the revenue of the practice as well, which is obviously one of the big things. I think so many practice owners just chalk up, you know, Thanksgiving and Christmas and New Year's. And it's like, it's just going to be a slow month. And so, but there's a lot of active strategies that we could employ. We'll get into that more tactical stuff here in a second, but that tactical stuff is what's going to be the biggest ground to get somebody where they want to go, right? And being able to have the phrases and the things to say to them. And so, again, delay in plan of care affects the patient more importantly, but it also affects the practice and the potential revenue. And so, what are we going to do about it? Right? We need to be able to have some actual proven strategies and things that we need to, to make this happen. And I think the biggest way to do that, and we'll kind of get into more tactical stuff now. What are some of the strategies we're using in our practice and some of our other clients are using? Is I want to make sure that we have stuff to actually stay, right? I think so often the front desk has no idea what to say if somebody says, "Well, hey, can I schedule?" Like I've even asked some of our clients before we put some of the stuff in our coaching program. hey, do you know what to say during the holidays? And they're just like, no, just people are rescheduling. So front desk staff probably doesn't really know what to say when people bring up the holiday objections. The Your providers have absolutely no idea what to say either. They just kind of space it out, and I know that's the case because I used to do it as well. Patients like I would kind of just like, well, I want to take a couple weeks off anyway, so like I'll just let them schedule. I don't really care. And I didn't realize the effect that it was having on them as well as the practice when I first started doing this. And again, I just didn't know what to say, right? Until we started testing things over the course of a couple of holiday seasons and now implemented this with our paying clients as well. So, one of the biggest things is hey, look, you got to train your staff a little bit. You got to spend some time with them. You got to set the precedent. It's the middle of December right now. If you're watching this video, you need to be like mentioning this stuff to your staff like yesterday. Like we did this right before Thanksgiving as a means to get these tools out. And so start, give your staff some framework of what to say. Now, my favorite way to do this is actually just to meet the objection head on. I don't want them to give me the excuse when I ask them to schedule. Like, let's just think about a new patient, for example. New patient calls in, I have a great conversation with them. I want to get them scheduled. And they're like, well, I was hoping just to kind of get started after the holidays. And I want to just meet that objection head on before they even get it out. And I want to tell them when I want to get them scheduled. So I'll literally say, "Hey, look, I know the holidays are coming up. I know you're super busy. I'd love to get you scheduled for your first initial evaluation. When is a good time for us to get together over the next day or two?" I'll just point out, tell them, "Hey, this is when I want to get you in." Now it's going to get harder the closer you get to Thanksgiving or to Christmas and New Year's, but this is a fantastic way just to get the objection out of the way. And now they oftentimes will just blow by it, right? That's kind of the first pass. Now, then you're going to start. They'll start to object at that point. They'll give you the, well, I was hoping to wait until after the holidays. And what I do in that particular case is I want to frame up the benefits of them actually coming in and why I want them to come in. Because if they know what the benefit is and how it actually is beneficial for them to start now as opposed to after the holidays, they're much more inclined to want to come in. They just don't see the benefit though. They just think, well, I'm really busy. I've got some time off work. I may not be at the gym or doing the things I want to do, whatever the case may be. Hey, we need to frame up the benefit of why they need to be seen now. And what are those benefits? Typically, it is, hey, I want you to come in because you're probably not going to be working out as much or doing the things you like. And that's a perfect time to have your pain reset. And that's what I want moving into the new year. And so I'll just tell them that on the phone. Hey, look, I know you're probably going to have some downtime with the holidays and traveling. I'd love to get you in for your initial evaluation now. That way, I can diagnose exactly what's going on, but then I can actually get you a game plan so that while you're away, you can actually work on these things so that come January 1st, you're actually able to get back to whatever the goal is, running, jumping, squatting, framing it up as, hey, here is the benefit of why you should come in now. And then that constantly needs to be reinforced during the plan of care with your therapist. So that messaging happens at the front end. And then that messaging happens at the back end with a therapist as well. The therapist should be mentioning this, or other providers, if you're not a PT or chiro clinic, you guys need to be messaging that when they're in the clinic. Hey, look, I know the holidays are coming up. Let's make sure here's why I need to see you, and here's the benefits of seeing me. And finish every session that way. Super simple, right? This is the strategy. This is the way when you're constantly bringing that up, and then they're going to know, hey, okay, this is why I'm actually coming in. Because if they don't see the benefit, they have no reason to want to come in. And this is just one more thing on their schedule at that point. And then remind them of their goal. If you could remind somebody of their goal, why they're actually wanting to come in, why they're actually reaching out, that is oftentimes the best way to get somebody to kind of overcome any resistance that you might get. Obviously, care plans and packages and all that good stuff can be super helpful to help overcome it, but you're still going to get that really spread out plan of care if you're not messaging it on the first phone call and messaging it in the clinic. Now, the last kind of strategy that we typically implement here is I get the plan of care mapped out as quickly as humanly possible. And so we do this two ways, again, front of house, back of house, right? So on the phone as well as from the providers, I tackle it at both of those angles every single time. And when I'm on the first phone call, I will just phrase it up as, "Hey, the holidays are busy. Typically, we're scheduling out a couple of appointments at a time. So let's schedule your initial eval, and then let's schedule 2 or 3 more appointments at that point." And I'll just schedule through the holidays because now they know when they're traveling. I've already got the stuff on the books, and now there's not going to be anything else that comes up. And best case scenario, you get it at the exact same time every single week. Hey, you like evenings? I'll get you Tuesday at 4 o'clock for the next 3 weeks, and then obviously we can your therapist can modify that game plan if that's appropriate. And now they already know, hey, I'm probably going to be coming more than once, so that's a benefit for from a sales standpoint. And then B, now they have that already on the calendar, and the holidays isn't going to be able to get in the way. Now, I will also message that in a clinic. Feel free to change the game plan a little bit. But if I've already got 2 or 3 on the books, let's just go ahead and schedule out another 3 or 4 visits. Let's get us to the middle of January so that the holiday, drama, if you will, or the holiday excuses are no longer actually there. And it all starts with the same messaging over and over and over again, and then framing the benefits to the patient. You frame the benefits to the patient, nothing else really matters at that point. And so that's exactly what we're using in our clinic at this point and with our other paid clients. And that has been the best and most effective strategy that we have implemented up to this point. And if you found this helpful, feel free to check out our other videos on common objections. And we also have this listed in our school community as well. So see you then.